Cool. So it's been only a month because we do it once a month. So it has to be, unless it is a little bit longer, but it's not this time. So, Two Autistics Talk Money. It's me, a financial planner who should know a lot about finances. And it's Brigid, who knows a lot about everything. I'm just going to go with
Yes.
that.
Yeah, that works. I like that intro.
Yeah. So we're gonna we were having a little discussion, and we strongly disagree on this topic, and we have not spoken. We were going to like just argue. So we were like debate. So we were thinking, how about let's just debate here in front of people for fun, because we both have different opinions and views. The subject is, should partners, spouses combine finances? I did a scientifically accurate poll according to internet standards, which means asking my biased network what they think. I have a fair amount of financial people, so that could very well skew the results, but
you need to add the fact that you did the survey on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I did the survey on LinkedIn. Yeah, that helps too. So I got like 100 responses. So I think it's enough to publish in a journal study article, scientific fact. Studies have been published for less. But the overwhelming response was a mix. I stand in the camp that it is better to at least have some sort of combination of combined finances. Brigid is not in that camp. So, okay. You want to start? So, and again, maybe elaborate a bit more about what we're actually going to talk about.
I was going to say, like, are we doing like Lincoln Douglas debate style? Like, not gonna lie, a little rusty on that front, but
I should have got a bell. You should have got a bell.
We've been talking, we need sound effects and like music. Like list of things to do. So I come to the table as like an adult child of divorce, and I've seen the problems of a shared bank account. I mean, my mother is still trying to recover from like when the spouse just decides to empty the account and there's nothing you can do about it because it's jointly in their name. So it's one of those things where I understand the purpose for some people. However, why not just keep it separate? I can understand the point of maybe having a third account that you only put the bill money in, that is only withdrawn from there. But again, what happens if it bounces one day? But then we're getting into really complicated relationships too, with polyamorous. Like how does one buy a house when there are multiple people involved in that relationship? So we'll say the fact that like getting a little like monogamous would talk about relationships. I'm just saying there's other relationship structures that are equally valid.
So what would you say about the situation where there's one, I mean, regardless of the reasons, or, that, men make more than women, right? Traditionally, or, for example, where the husband or the woman or one partner, but whatever it is, but where one partner makes 80,000 a year and the other makes 40,000 a year. Okay. I mean, is it really fair that they split all of the bills 50-50?
No, but I mean, we're veering into like Reddit question territory, whereas
I mean, this whole question is a Reddit question, so
it's like a Reddit forum. But no, I think that you can divide stuff proportionally. But like if we're talking about like household expenses and stuff, we also have to account for the fact that like maybe people are doing different stuff around the house. I think that it's really important, again, from a disability standpoint, to be aware that financial abuse can really occur in the disability community when people feel that they're not having options and that you have to ask for permission to have $5 to buy a soda because someone else is controlling all of the money. So it's one of those things where, again, I know you're coming from like, here are numbers and facts, and I'm coming from, here's
Well,
the emotional unicorn thing going on. Oh, come on.
no, I'm not all emotions and facts, but yeah, maybe a lot. But no, but I guess I would strongly really suggest that, like, okay, so I get your point, but let's take that same disability example, right? Let's say that there's one person who brings in less money, who's not able to either like save or who's not able, like, so let's do this 80,000, 40,000, or if you have a better number, that's just one in my head. It might be higher, but let's say that.
Okay, like I'm gonna say, let's do with like 40,000 and 10,000 because that's
Oh,
closer
perfect.
to
No, no, no.
like
Yeah, real. Okay, yeah.
disability. Yeah,
No,
like
you're
come
right.
on, like I don't know that many people earn
40
an
and
8.
let's do 40 and 20. Let's do 40 and 20.
Okay.
Because that's probably like 50, that's probably like a, a social security disability benefit or a little higher, whatever,
Yeah.
40, 20. So, but let's say that, there's so much in expenses, a month, and the person who is bringing in 20,000 is contributing, let's say, equally to the household, right? But they're not able to save for things, save for the future, because all of their money goes to bills and there's nothing else. Now, the person who's making 40,000, now they have about 1,500 a month that's not going towards bills. So by not combining finances, like, money really is held from that person, because if they're splitting all the bills down the middle 50-50, you have one partner with nothing left at the end of the month and one with a lot left at the end of the month.
Well, yeah. So, like, I think again for that, like, whether things are divided a little like different, like not straight down the middle.
Okay.
But I think that also involves what are the relationship dynamics, and does like the couple or something have shared goals that they're working towards? Like, I mean, if someone wants to buy like, again, all these Reddit forums, like a $8,000 gaming computer, and the other person would rather save their money or spend it on like medical expenses, should the shared fund money be used on one more than the other?
I mean, I don't think the question is, I mean, whether you should be with somebody who wants to spend $8,000 on a gaming computer, and, I think should be, a separate thing
Oh,
altogether.
totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's a different layer of questions. But I mean, these are the real things. Like when you have joint accounts and stuff, like people are like, okay, we together as a couple have this pot of money. It's going to go towards these bills, and we have this amount left over. And if one's like, I'm gonna go and get my hair done for $200, is that $200 that the other person gets to spend? Is it $200 that's going to go into savings? Like, how are people really having these conversations? And especially when not everyone is financially literate.
So let me just say, like, maybe what I recommend, and how about you poke holes in it?
Sure.
Okay, that sounds fun. So I think what makes a lot of sense is that, in that type of situation, that there has to be some level of trust. I mean, no matter the way the relationship is structured, if you're paying joint bills, right, then you are together on some level, right? So, I think one thing that's really, so one way you could do it is that, you have basically like an agreement, right? That you have a joint account, but anything over a certain amount, you run by the other person. right? And I mean, so I mean, even now, like and I think that also just opens the door for like a good, healthy communication, in a relationship. I don't think, not saying that, more money would not help lots of relationships, and lots of relationships can, argue, have, issues because of money. But, at the same time, some habits are, regardless of money, right? I guess what I'm saying is, if if there's enough money to go around and you're arguing constantly about money, it's probably not about the money, is what I'm saying.
Oh, good.
Yeah. But so in the game, so in that example, I if you can have that line of communication open where you are, running by each other, just like purchases, that you want to make that are miscellaneous, or almost like as an act. I mean, okay, this is not going to be applicable to like anyone else but me and Jessica, but like as an activity, right? Like, there, like, okay, there's a sale like Black Friday, like it's fun. Or Target had an error where they were like shipping all this stuff for $15, and we didn't need it, but we wanted it. Actually, can I tell you the story? It is completely
Sure.
off tangent, but I'm gonna go there
Go ahead.
because this is
It's
okay.
your webinar.
Ours. There's two of us, but anyway, it's a great story. So my wife ordered a rug that was like a $300 rug. Now, for the record, I didn't know about the rug, but that's a separate story. Or maybe she did and I was ignoring it, which is equally as likely. But point is, expensive rug, didn't work. And so she was going to return the rug. But then she didn't have something like to roll it up with or something. And so she canceled the Amazon order. And it's a bigger rug. So I guess what Amazon says is, UPS is going to come, just ignore them. However, with that previous Target example, what happened is somebody dropped off a big shelving unit that was supposed to be a lot more than $15. But we only bought it because it was $15. I get very excited about sales. So like, I was going to find a place for like the error, excited me. So UPS shows up, there's no rug, but there's a big box outside. So they take the box with the shelf and they take it from us.
Oh, goodness.
We got a refund from Amazon for the rug and they took our shelf. This was not on purpose. It was a complete accident. We are sure there is somebody in an Amazon warehouse somewhere who's like, this is not a rug. I am not dealing with this. Like, the end. And nobody did anything wrong. Like, we didn't know that this other big shelf thing was going to show up at our house that day. We didn't know that, and the UPS guy, he doesn't know he's picking up. He's picking up a big box. He's like, okay, cool. And that was it. So anyway, that was just such like an amazing story over the past week. So we got a $300 rug for $15.
Did this just happen?
Yes, like this weekend. Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah. So, and like, I mean, yeah. Anyway, moving on. Because that story was just so exciting. But that was kind of my point, is that, like talking about some things like that, or just like having it something to talk about, like, because at the same time, if somebody's buying something that's a bit more expensive, then it might be important to them, right? So therefore, it's a good thing for people to talk about, right? And I mean, but there's certain things where you're right, like being financially abusive or being told, no, you can't buy things, right?
Especially if, like, again, as someone who buys mermaid tails, and there's this really adorable cat house that I am also buying that's double layer pirate ship cat house. I mean, yeah, I don't want to be with anyone who isn't supportive of my, I don't know, 15,000 rhinestone purchase. I know not everyone's gonna have the same level of excitement as me, but I don't want someone being like, you can't buy that with your money. And I do think that there should be some wiggle room, but you absolutely do need to discuss finances, especially for all of us who are around like early 30s who may have 5 million piles of student loan debt, medical bills, just knowing what it is that you're walking into in a marriage, or like maybe someone is earning $40,000, but they have $800 a month of student loans that they're paying off. So just kind of being mindful of that part of it too.
Yeah, no, I think I mean, so what I think we both agree on is like communication's important, right? I would argue that, the financial, let's call it financial infidelity, lack of a better term, or just something.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. That sounds like a Hallmark movie.
It
Mental
probably
infidelity,
is.
starring Melissa Joan Hart.
I was- but but I guess I would say, but also not hiding. So let's give another example. Let's say, okay, so I'm going to challenge you here. So you have this $8,000 gaming computer, right?
Can it be an $8,000 mermaid tail? Because that is more interesting to me
Let's
than
do
an
let's do an $8,000. Let's say, can we say we're in a relationship?
Okay.
For the sake of this.
But
Okay.
I mean, the fact that you want to do like financial budgeting for fun, like that's a deal breaker for me. Like, just saying.
If I say it makes me very unhappy, would you believe me?
Yes. But I also like, actually, no, if you said it made you unhappy, I'd think you're lying.
Yeah. Okay.
Same with
Yeah. Okay.
numbers.
But hold on. Let's go with it.
Okay.
Let's go with, we're courting. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We're courting. Not, yes. So you want to buy an $8,000 mermaid tail, and let's do one of two examples. Let's go with who just started living together. Okay. Like we're not married, maybe 6 months in a relationship. Like we want to start maybe combining some things. Okay. And
I
I
think
make
that's rushing, but that's again
2
just
years. 2 years.
There we go.
I mean, but is it realistic that you would have put up with me for 2 years in the first place? So like that's kind of where I was going.
Okay,
So
all right.
okay, whatever. Okay, time frame doesn't. Let's go with 2 years, and then so let's say that I make more than you do. Okay, and that I'm more controlling with money than you are. All this is starting to be kind of believable, right? Especially, yeah. Okay. But let's say that we have a shared, bank. So let's say we don't have a shared bank account.
Okay.
And you're relying. Now, let's even say that I'm paying more of the bills and doing things like that, right?
Okay.
Even though we split it, but because you don't know what I have, but you're kind of relying on me, if that makes sense, a bit more, right? What if I rack up tons of debt, tons of things you don't know about, right? And then I'm like, peace, right? And in the meantime, I'm wasted money, gambling. I bought 3 mermaid tail. I think somebody priced up like a really expensive Mac that was like $100,000. I saw a screenshot. It was just like all the things that nobody would put in one. But like I buy that, or like gambling. I guess what I'm saying is without there, maybe the finances don't have to necessarily be together, but I feel like
they're connected.
You're still connected, because there's still like the matter of hiding it, right? Like I could rack up a lot of debt. Like, I don't know, I feel like this is a common like SVU, like, scene where like the husband loses his job and like pretends to go to work for 6 months and racks up all the credit card debt and doesn't tell the wife, and then he like kills someone or something, right? And like, isn't that like a common like TV something?
I know there's
Uncommon.
also like in Grey's Anatomy, they had stuff of that. Yeah, like it's a common trope. Mhm.
Yes. So, but I mean, but that should be avoided, right? Like there should be that like communication, so that should never happen. Right?
Was that a quick? Okay, but what if, like you do pay all your bills and stuff, and like flip side, you're one of those people that's going and betting on the ponies, and you win like $10,000. Like if you're in a relationship and stuff, is that like jointly your money, or then do I get to buy my $8,000 silicone mermaid tail with the side hip fins, and a linden monofin?
So there was actually it was a Reddit post, I remember. Where yes, of course, where like there was a contest. Okay, so here's let me know what you think. So there was a contest, and I
Mhm.
might butcher it a little bit, but you know, there was the husband and wife, they keep things separate. He didn't want to enter in the contest. So she and they kept money separately,
Right.
right? And she entered for him. Okay.
Okay.
He won a, let's call it not an insignificant amount of money. Let's call it $5,000. Okay.
Mhm.
Remember, he never wanted to enter in the first place.
Right.
Right. They keep money separate though. 5,000 is his money.
No.
Well, hold on.
No.
That's what they did.
Okay.
A month
Yes.
later, she won the larger prize of like $50,000. And then
Okay.
he was demanding, oh no, that's shared. So is he
Well,
just an asshole?
yes.
Okay. So is the true answer that if you're in a good relationship, none of what we're talking about really matters?
No. Like I wouldn't say that. I mean, like I think uh like the important stuff is to communicate and stuff. But one of the things, okay, so like I'm newly courting someone, and talking to them and my therapist, yay, therapy is great, discussing what are the shared values. I am a person who, when it came to like helping like me to budget and stuff, I would much rather spend $1,000 on a trip than use $1,000 to pay off my credit card bill. Like that's the type of person that I am. And I'm sure you have opinions on that stuff. But
I'm not
I
that
think
person.
you're not that person.
No, but compromise is important, but
I
continue.
think compromise is important in communication, and
Yes.
like, but it's also one of those things where we live in a like consumerist hellscape, and sometimes the little like extra coffee in the morning or like a stuffed animal makes things a little bit better. So when I do see people like try and cut corners mercilessly, it's like, okay, like what's the reason? So I feel like that is a big thing that you need to discuss in conversations involving shared finances. But like I think that it's really sketch to have accounts that you can move funds into and out of, like move funds out of a mutual account for both of you, like into your private accounts. Like that just raises red flags to me. Like when it does become secretive and not talking about how much you earn, or hey, can we do this event or go out to dinner, because I mean, even at the beginning of a relationship, I feel like that's important stuff to kind of talk about, of like, hey, like let's have dinner at home, or like, hey, do you want to go to this concert that costs, like concert tickets are expensive, like kind of bringing that up into a conversation at an early stage of the relationship is, I feel, pretty important.
So I'll say what we do, and then you say your ideal scenario. Let's see how they're different.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, and again, what works for somebody won't work for everyone, right? So like I like to pay the bills. It's like the one quote like living skill that I do. Ask me to put laundry in the hamper and it won't happen, but I will pay the bills. And so actually I think I was threatened. I actually think that's finally started. I only think it took like 10 years or something, but I think it's like started to anyway. Um moving on. So what we do is, so I have a business account. So I transfer like enough of my business account, right, to pay for everything that we quote need. And we have, it actually started off, I think, as something formal. I've just been in a relationship a long time. So I think we built good habits. We said over $100 we were going to run it by each other. And and we shared the bills, right? She told me like student loans and like what she had, right? And if there was a situation, or like I remember very early when neither of us really had much money, but like her car needed new tires. I'm like, I don't want you to die in the winter, so new tires, right? You're smiling really big right now.
No,
Oh.
I just got my car back from the mechanic yesterday. So like the cost of
Oh, sorry. So that was
stuff is
pain.
no,
So,
that's a
okay.
pain. That's a pain. Like, oh, whimsy. My life was so much better before I got, when they called me, I'm like, that's a lot of numbers. Wait, can you repeat that? Because
See, this is what I get for trying to guess an emotion. Okay.
we don't do that. We need like
No.
images.
Yeah. But but that was something where it was like a nice thing to do. And I think also she was super appreciative. And I do know she watches this, but anyway, she was super appreciative of the fact that I did it. It was an act of, what are those love languages? I don't know, that has to be one of mine. But I think, but it's true. And it was wanted things to be fair, but also again, having some independence, is super important. So now, like, I probably was told about the rug. I know I'm gonna get like hell for this later because
I'm so excited to get a text message later, like from her. Like I did tell him about the rug.
Oh my god, I don't remember. Anyway, moving on. Sounds good. Okay, cool. But but like but we try to run by things that are, of a certain like value, just like mutually, or like plan things together. And, and even if it's, so even though we have a joint account, we each have our own like credit card, right? And she'll maybe just say, we bought a lot of crap on Amazon this month. So it's like every month. So, bill's going to be higher because we have the Amazon card where it just pays off automatically every month, but it's 5% cash back for everything you buy on Amazon. And who doesn't buy a lot of stuff on Amazon? So
people that don't want.
What? Oh, okay. Are you one of those? And are you anti-Amazon?
I shop small business.
Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. So
currently during this webinar, I'm missing out on a small business release, and I'm not going to get the new cotton thigh highs I was looking
but hold on, with a lot of what like you're looking to buy, that makes a lot of sense to support small business though, right? Yeah. And I mean, we definitely do that with like the baby stuff, or like kid stuff, or like art stuff. Absolutely try to small business, but like a lot of like business stuff I need, or like there's stuff that we can't buy. There's stuff that do you know a small business who sells rugs that are not like Persian rug? Like there's just certain things.
I also know fiber artists. So like
I guess it makes sense that's a thing. I had no idea that was a thing. So okay.
So I think without jumping into like the Brigid hall of horrible relationships, I think one of the biggest things that I have dealt with in the past is partners that try to guilt me into like, well, I'd like to go to this movie with you, but like I can't really afford it. And like me paying for them instead because I want their company, or I think that like if I buy something for someone, it'll like show them interested. But then we just have like the moochers out there. So like it's definitely been a journey for me to kind of have healthy financial boundaries in relationships, whether it's romantic relationships or even friendships, because I am the type of person that would give someone and have my last $10, to which they just like turn around and like blow it on a pack of cigarettes when they're like, I need this to eat food. So I think before jumping into a relationship with finances, I think you have to kind of develop some healthy financial boundaries around yourself. And I also am totally that person that voted most likely to give like $1 to someone on the street, or 20. Also have done that before. So I think it's one of those things that you really do have to figure out, like, what is your relationship to money, and are you like surrounding yourself with people who have similar relationship styles, or ones that are completely like the opposite, like the magnet stuff.
I can say pretty safely, given that my job is to talk to people about finances, and a lot of people are in relationships of some sort, that it is extremely rare to see two couples on the same page.
Oh yeah. Like, I mean,
So
again, if they were on the same page 90% of the time, would there really be so many Reddit forums?
so no, I'm trying to think. No. So I guess we're in good shape. But I mean, there's like, but I think it's like, but I think they create balance too, right? Like I don't like I would never I think like I encourage my wife to save a bit more than she might otherwise. And she encourages me to actually buy some things that I might enjoy and have fun a bit more than I might otherwise. And I find that we each bring each other together and for the better of like both of us with some balance.
And
So
that's what a healthy relationship should be.
yes. I have a funny one where I have a client who he wants to go over all the budgeting, the expenses, and his wife, and they live frugally, but like they work, well, like pensions, like he retired, and he thinks the wife spends too much, and I've known him for 10 years, right? And I've known him and the wife that's a long time. And he wants to go over like his expenses and budgeting, and I know their situation well enough. I'm like, you are not going to run out of money. You are fine. No matter how many times you try to, and he's an engineer type person. So
Okay,
that's
so yeah,
but
that
like, and I'm like, no matter how many times you fill out an expense worksheet, I'm not going to tell you that your wife spends too much money. The only way I will do that is if you cut me a check on the side to lie to her for you. Short of that, there is no way. I'm not saying I would accept that. I'm just saying that
this is being recorded. So
yes. Hey. No, but I'm just saying that like that is the only way that like, and he's just, again, concerned that she's spending too much, even though there's a professional saying, go spend money, right? But I think that balance is good because I don't think he'd spend, it's not about her. Do you know what the remarkable tablet is?
no.
It's
Is it like the Impossible Whopper?
in the sense that it's that it's a fake notepad that's more expensive. Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, actually, see, that was good. It's like a $600 notebook. It's like a Kindle that you can write on. That's supposed to be just like writing on paper.
Why? Okay.
Okay, hold on. Point is, he would really like one.
Okay.
He can afford one. He has a business use for one.
Okay.
And we're talking, and he's like, and I keep dropping my like mechanical pencil between the couch cushions. I'm like, well, if you had a remarkable tablet, like I know it will make him happy. Like I've just known him long enough. I'm a good salesperson. So even though I'm not making money on this, I was very just motivated to get him to do it. So he did order one finally, but like he was depriving himself of enjoyment. Thank God for his wife encouraging him to do something fun, or he would just be like, you know, like a troll under the bridge, like with his money. That would be me if it weren't for my wife, I'm sure.
Like, it's also one of those things where it goes to like, I am a like performer, like I'm an artist and stuff, and I will be like, oh man, like let me get the store name brand cereal, or like let's budget and stuff this way, and then it's like, ooh, like here is like, again, here's a limited edition mermaid tail and it's $120. Like I'm more likely to like trim budgets to spend it on the stuff that I like. And that makes me happy, like, because I'm fine eating rice and beans for a while and just looking at the shiny, being warmed by the love of it.
I'm the opposite. Like I will spend like too long, like especially if it comes to like computer stuff, because I enjoy it too. Like I won't buy things that cost like a couple dollars more. But like I mean, I don't know, but if I see something like cute at the store, like a dog toy or something, like at Dunkin' Donuts, I bought a donut dog toy and dog treat, right? But like I won't spend that on something I might actually use too. So like I'm kind of the flip side is like I will, well, maybe in a lot of ways too. Like I'll buy something for somebody else, but like I won't spend like an extra little bit of money on myself. So I think we got off a little bit, which is shocking for everyone. But I think kind of where I'm going with this is that, you know, having a mix in communication seems to be the answer.
Do you have any advice for people that are like sitting down and getting like developing a joint account?
I mean,
like, is there a best practices of like, yo, so like you've been steady with your boo for a bit, like marriage is on the horizon or you're married, like how do you go about creating the joint account in a way that's not bad?
I think the easiest thing to do is to make it as simple as possible, right? And to keep things as automated as possible and not worry about splitting everything down the middle. So I'll give you a great example. So let's say that example with the couple, right? 40,000 and 20,000 a year, right? You know, rather than just split everything, let's say we don't want to combine finances, but we want to make it fair.
Okay.
Right? Okay. What I would say is I make more money. I'm just going to pay the rent. Okay. And maybe I'll buy the groceries. And Brigid, can you pay the cell phone bill, the Comcast bill, and like just total up roughly your bills and have like a rough idea and be like, you know what? I think this makes up that I'm paying a bit more of things. I'm handling this and you got that.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that idea because then you don't even need a joint account though, right?
Right.
But I mean, and then there are certain things you can split. So maybe a good alternative to a joint account and keeping things separate is kind of decide like who's responsible for what.
I think that's a nice way to like go about it too. That's a little different because I know, for example, like I I have a financial relationship and stuff with my roommate. Like the stuff is in my name, like the internet's in my name, electricity and stuff is in my name. Like I am the one who is ultimately responsible for it. And like they will Apple pay me the balance and stuff, but then they have other stuff that's in their name too. So just trying to kind of, it's not going to come out exactly like nickel and dime equal, but again, it's one of those things where it's they went apple picking and stuff the weekend and we're like, hey, do you want some apple cider? Like we'll pick you up a jug. So if it kind of go back to that communication style of like, are you trying to account for every single dollar? Or are you just trying to kind of develop a sense of equity and fairness?
Yeah, and I think like also just automating just executive like as many things as possible. So like if I know that I'm responsible for like the Comcast bill, I can set that to auto pay. I can have that as done. Or, and I mean, and depending how comfortable people are in a relationship, if you want to consider student loans as a joint responsibility at a certain point, then they're responsible for their loans, but then you're responsible for this bill, right? So rather than try to, everyone can be responsible for their own independent things, and then, um, then it is kind of equitable without like combining finances in a lot of, yeah, right? I mean, I guess there could be times where where that doesn't work, right? Depending, if it's a lot more lopsided, right? But like
like, but again, looking at ideally a relationship should come more down to not just nickel and dime cents, but again, if you have someone
pennies. I got so excited. I found a penny outside Friends over the weekend. Okay.
But I'm just saying, like, again, maybe someone cooks all the meals, or is a I think there's also, you have to account for the like unequal relationship stature that does exist, especially when it comes to stay-at-home parents and taking care of the kid. And how do the finances work for that if there is only one income being generated? And that raises some other problems because like I again going back to the Reddit forums, people are like, well, I'm the breadwinner, like I'm the one who's making all this money, I should be able to spend it however I want, when the person who's at home.
So wouldn't having a joint account help solve that issue a lot more? And I know that you're against it, but in that situation, like what's the alternative if it's not joint finances at that point?
Well, so the way that I have to manage my money is I use like the envelope system, where after paying bills and stuff, I will literally just put a certain amount in an envelope of like, here's my envelope of money for like the week or the month for this category. And yeah, you can kind of think of it like an allowance, but it's one of those things where if the finances aren't exactly equal, that's a way to kind of be like, all right, here's the fun money for eating out or clothing budget, stuff like that. So accounting for some of that in the budgeting, I know it would be a lot tighter with a single income household. And I think that everyone needs to be able to have financial freedom and autonomy, because without it, people will stay and do stay in unhealthy and dangerous relationships for financial security. I think the thing that would really solve this all is a universal basic income.
I actually agree with you. Yes, and I'm libertarian. I think we should abolish the Department of Education, the income tax, all of that stuff. But I do think we should have universal basic income. I think for everyone, that's just where everyone just gets $1,000 a month just for existing, or whatever dollar amount it is. and just everyone gets it. And I think especially if you replace that with like the bureaucracy of all of the, can you tell you got me excited, of the like, you know, quote, like welfare type systems and so SSI and like food and all of these government assistance and all of these things. If you just eliminate, you know how much like overhead you could eliminate by just giving people money? Like we'd save money by giving people more money.
We also, if we tax the rich, you know, like your buddy Bezos that you shop at, like that could also change. But I think like there's a reason why divorce rates have changed over the years, and women weren't allowed to own their own accounts, like creating their own bank accounts. There's like it's hard sometimes if you are not used to financial independence, financial literacy, and trying to navigate the world, not really prepared for what do credit scores mean, what does the interest rate mean, and for those people unfortunately who haven't been on housing leases, who don't have stronger job records, like the system's really stacked against people who have been dependent on others for financial security. So then you're in your 30s, maybe your 40s, and having to start over at like ground zero. You playing a game on your phone?
No, I'm not. I like I said, I wasn't distracted. But no, I was just thinking, I was making a note of something to think about later. So that was all, because otherwise I'd forget it. So
Okay.
yeah. But so okay. So question, are you gonna change? What did you learn? What do you think you're gonna change?
I
So
learned that you find it amusing and an activity to do budgeting with your wife. I also
hold on,
learned
hold on,
that
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. That is not what I said. I said I enjoy finding deals and sales fun as an activity.
I also learned that you didn't listen to your wife, that she was buying a new carpet.
I don't know what you're talking about. So
What
exactly.
did you learn, Andrew?
So I got, you know, just a few different perspectives, I think, on how like budgeting, like kind of, well, actually kind of the idea that I gave, I kind of made up on the spot. So what I learned was self-internalized, like an AI, like the knowledge just came from within. You had not, no, but
There you go. You
say
uploaded your
no, but what I learned is that like, you know, that it's, you know, that it can be, you know, I really always thought it as being more equitable to combine finances, especially when there's one person who makes more, right? For the person making less. But I really didn't think about it from the side of you have somebody who is really more controlling or limiting and really kind of more like abusing that. Now, I don't know what the solution is. It sounds like, I mean, that's
therapy.
well,
Therapy.
yes, yeah. So,
It's also one of those, I would imagine that, like, again, I'm on disability and I'm single. Like, were I to be married, I probably have too much of a shared income, which is this whole other can of worms and stuff. So, like, physically combining finances is not actually a viable option for a lot of people out there.
yeah. So, but I think it's and no, and the idea with actually, I actually, as much as I'm pretty sure we did that idea. I actually don't know if I've recommended the like just the covering the rent, the say thing. This, it sounds like I've recommended that before. I actually don't think I have. So I learned that. You helped me kind of put that together, just thinking about that. So that's kind of what I meant. So
Yeah, like dividing it up, especially like if the utilities are different, like what's in people's names and stuff. And yeah, like I think especially with the price of housing. But that being said, I do think that you need to keep I think the thing that we've really hit on is keeping these lines of communication open, because we're someone to lose their job and they're the one who's been paying all the rent. Like, how does that throw things for a loop? Like, are there any like savings? I know you're a financial person. Isn't there some ridiculous amount of money that you're supposed to have way for savings? Like, was
Yeah,
it
nobody does that. Yeah, like
no,
6 months of living
6
expenses.
months? Like,
Yeah. I mean,
I
nobody
just got my
does that.
car taken care of. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I don't have 6 months of living expenses, so I don't have a
you
budget
have a
either.
real job. Yeah.
Yeah, see? Nobody, but it's important to, I mean, it's a recommendation. I don't know. It's like one of those where it's like, I feel like there's certain recommendations that especially my industry gives, or there's probably a lot where they're just like cars, like you're supposed to get your oil changed every like 5,000 miles and nobody does it every 5,000. Or like you don't even need to do it every 5,000 anymore with synthetic oil. They just tell you that otherwise. Or like, yeah, I feel like it's kind of one of those. So,
Yeah.
but
No,
I think keep things simple. You should never need to go over spreadsheets as a couple. Can we agree to that? Like, regardless whether you combine or don't combine.
I
You know,
feel like if you're bringing out the spreadsheets, like there's other issues in the relationship.
I
Like,
mean,
let's
unless both of you or at least one of you really like spreadsheets, and there
uh,
is that population. But let's
there is, but like those are not anyone that I would date. For the cat's tails. But yeah, no, like if your idea of fun, I've had people in the nonprofit and stuff, love them to death, created an Excel spreadsheet once about a grant proposal, and it was color coded, it was gorgeous. It had none of the information that we actually needed for the grant, and I was stuck being like, this is really pretty, none of this is useful. So I don't think I've ever been presented with a spreadsheet that actually makes me excited. Like maybe one day. Like,
you haven't lived.
no, I think I've lived different. Like I'm okay with like, yeah, like I'm okay with my life. Like I'm not second guessing my choices at all. No. Mhm. But you enjoy
Yeah.
your Excel spreadsheet. I'll be over in like the like PowerPoint land. Like that's mine. PowerPoint.
I made a PowerPoint with a ton of memes for a presentation. So that was fun for me. And then because usually I don't do that and they're very professional and stuff. And I'm like, I don't feel like doing that. So I did one
I've
for
been
yeah.
I've been doing a bunch of mermaid presentations. So I have a bunch of presentations with photos of me in a bikini.
But that is professional for you,
It is.
literally.
Yep.
So yeah. So anyway, that's all. So
That's all,
thank you
folks.
for coming. We'll do something else for next time, but that's what I got. So
Hit the like, subscribe, follow us, and if you got suggestions for upcoming episodes, feel free to shoot them our way so that you can get some balanced financial opinion and then someone who's going to encourage you to buy mermaid tails.
yay.